Hello, welcome back to my channel Lomzy Sews. In today's sewing tutorial, I'll be sharing with you guys how to make BUBU gown, this trendy BUBU gown with shawl collar. If that's what you're looking for, then continue watching till the end to see how I made this, because I'm going to make it detailed and very simple for a beginner to understand. If this is your first time coming across my channel, consider to subscribe. Let's get into today's video. To make this BUBU gown tutorial, I'm going to be using this black crepe fabric for the details in front. You can use any fabric of your choice. You can use ashoke, you can use damask, any fabric, any detail you want in front, you can use it for it. All you need to do, if it's light, you can use interfacing for it and it will be strong enough. And I'm going to be using this adire for this BUBU gown. I have here 3.5 yards. By the way, for the black, I have 1 yard here. For this adire, I have 3.5 yards here. You can use chiffon fabric, you can use Ankara fabric for this. Any cotton, in fact, any fabric will go with this style. So it's a BUBU gown. You can experiment with any fabric you want. So let's start with this sewing tutorial. So first, I'll be folding my fabric into 4. I'm going to fold it first like this, lengthwise. I'm going to fold it again like this. So guys, before we continue, I would like to inform you guys that this BUBU gown is kind of wasteful. It's a wasteful, in fact, call it a luxury BUBU gown, because you're going to waste a lot of fabric. But okay, you can use the fabric for another project. The next thing I have to get is the circumference of the BUBU gown. We are going to be using the hips for the circumference of the BUBU gown. So we are going to divide hips divided by 4 plus 2 inches is allowance, and we're going to add 1.5 inch sewing allowance to that. So the hips I'm using is 46 inches. 46 divided by 4 will give me 11.5 plus 2 inches is the allowance, which will make it 13.5, and I'm going to add 1.5 inch sewing allowance to that. In total, I should have 15 inches. So from here to here, I have gotten 15 inches. If you have noticed, you will see me draw a line here. So this is the line that I'm going to use, and this will be the center back of this dress. Note that because I'm using this adire fabric, I want to maintain the design of this fabric. That's why I will want to have a seam allowance at the back. But if you're not using a fabric that needs you to follow the design, you can have the center back unfold. But for mine, I'm going to have a seam at the back because I still want to maintain the design of the adire. So now, guys, another thing you have to note, you will see that the center front, because this is the center front and the center back, I have made my center front shorter than the center back. By the time we go ahead, you will know the reason why I left these 2.5 inches. So from here to here, we have our circumference, hip circumference divided by 4 plus 2 inches is allowance and 1.5 inch sewing allowance. I'm going to use 1/2 inch sewing allowance for the back seam, and I'm going to use 1 inch sewing allowance for the side seam. So this is going to be the center front, and this is going to be the center back, and this is going to be the side seam. So remember, this is the back and this is the front. The next thing I'm going to get is the length of the sleeve. The length of the sleeve I want to use is 11 inches. And that is because this is a free and easy BUBU gown. If you want it to be fitted, you can, reduce it. But, this is a free dress. So I'm going to come down 11 inches. And if you're a size 10, if you're a size 8 to 10, you can use 10 inches. But plus sizes should be able to use 11 inches. So I'm going to make 11 inches as the length of the sleeve. Next, I'm going to come down from this measurement to 4 inches. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I came down 15 inches, and I'm going to mark this here. This can serve as your under bust measurement or anything. So we are not using any under bust measurements or waist measurements or whatever. This is the guide I use for my own. I just first of all, get the length of the sleeve, and I come down 4 inches. That is because I want to have a very nice shape. Then the next thing I would do is to get the length of the dress. So the length of the dress I'm working with is 59 inches, and I added 1 inch sewing allowance to that, which will make it 60 inches. I think I have to cut out this so that you'll be able to understand what I am doing. So let me just cut out that place so that it's easier for you to understand what I'm doing. So now this is the back and this is the front. Let me show you guys. So as you can see, what I have here is 3 inches between here, and this is the center back. So I would go ahead. If you're doing yours and this is on fold, you can make yours to be 2.5 inches. if your own is on fold. But because mine is not on fold, I have the same. That's why I left ½ inch for the seam allowance. So next, I'm going to get the width of the neckline. The width of the neckline I'm using is 3½ inches, and that is because I have ½ inch sewing allowance here. If you don't have ½ inch sewing allowance, you can use 3 inches. So I'm going to use 3½ inches, which is here, and the neck depth, I'm going to make it to be 1 inch. I'm going to connect this like this. Now remember, this is a sewing allowance, so let me just remove this and show you. So this is 3½. I'm going to connect this like this. So this is the neck width for the back. In fact, let me just cut that off so that it's easier for us to see. So I'll cut this off like this. So on this line that we have come down with, remember this one is the line for the sleeve length, and we came down here. You can also make this line to be your under bust measurement. So I'm going to get the circumference of my bust on this line. The circumference of my bust divided by 4 plus ½ inch ease allowance and 1.5 inch sewing allowance. So the bust I'm using is 44 inches divided by 4 will give me 11 inches. I'm going to add ½ inch ease allowance, which will make it 11½, and I will add 1½ inch sewing allowance, which will make it 13 inches, and I'll mark it here. I'm going to connect this line to give me a dormant kind of sleeve. So I'm going to come in like this, and I will go out that way. Just give it a lazy man curve there, but let it not be sharp. So you're going to have something that looks like this. So I'm going to cut this out, and I will maintain this to be a straight line because it's a straight BUBU gown. So I'm going to cut this out. This is basically it, guys. And then I'll cut this open. Next, I'm going to cut the shoulder open, and this is because I'm trying to maintain a design on the neck. If not, you don't need to cut this place open because we're not going to get any shoulder sloping. So I'm just going to cut this open. So we have the front and the back. I'm going to take away the back panel and we work on the front. So this is the back of this fabric. I'm going to turn it over to the front side. So this side is the back of the fabric. So remember, this doesn't have a side pocket. It has a detailed pocket in front, if you notice. So I'm going to come down to mark for the pockets. I'm going to come down from here 20 inches. I will mark it here. So I'll turn it over and mark the same thing. That's where I'm going to be adding my pockets. 20 inches here. For the sewing tutorial, the next thing we have to do, the very first thing you have to do is to get the pocket. So we're going to make a pocket, a front pocket design in front. I've gone ahead and made the pocket. I'm going to pin it on the place that we have made the mark. So from the center front, I'm going to come in 1½ inches and I'll place it there. And I'm going to pin this so that it will be easy for me to go and sew on the machine. I'll go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. I'll go ahead and sew this all the way around on both sides. As you can see, I've added the pockets. Can you guys see? So the next thing we will do is to join the shoulders. So I've gone ahead and sewn the center back, as you can see. So I'll go ahead and place this together on the shoulder line, and I'm going to sew it. So you go ahead and sew here and sew here, and then you're going to close the side seam. You go ahead and close the side seam. So this is it after joining all the pieces. At this stage, make sure you go ahead and overlock this. As you can see, I have overlocked it. You overlocked all the seams. So the next thing we'll have to do is to get the sleeve length. Now, for you to get the sleeve length, you're going to take round your across back, and whatever you get is what we're going to be using for the sleeve length. So in my own case, my across back from my shoulder, center back of my shoulder to the sleeve I want is 22½ inches. So from here to here, what I have is 14½. If I minus the ½ inch for sewing allowance, it will be 14 inches. So 14 inches, and the sleeve length I'm using is 22½, which will give me 8½ inches. So I'm going to add half inch for joining allowance, which will make it 9 inches, and I'll add hemming allowance of 2 inches, which will make it 11.5 inches. So 11.5 inches is what I'm going to be using for the sleeve, and I have gone ahead and cut out this. I will fold it into 4 for the 2 sleeves. So I'm going to fold this into 4 like this. What I have here is 11 inches, like I said, which is what would be for the sleeve length. So I'll go ahead and place this here. So you just go ahead and place this here. This would come to this place. So I have half inch sewing allowance, joining allowance here. So I'm going to go ahead and join this place for the sleeve, and I'm going to go and join it to this one. So let me close the side seam and join this. Before I join this, I want to first of all fold the hem. So I'm just going to fold it like this and fold again. So I will iron 1 inch inside. This is it after sewing it, as you can see. So this is the front side. I'll go ahead and flip it over to the wrong side, and I'm going to insert the BUBU gown into the sleeve. So I'll insert it like this. And I'll go and sew it around. I'll do the same thing on the other side. This is it after sewing the sleeve. Next, I'm going to hem the lower part. So you go ahead and fold it the first time and fold again. So I'll go and do that in my machine now and sew it here. This is it after hemming it. Next, we're going to go over to the neck so that we will make the shawl collar, which is the main reason for this tutorial. So I placed the 2 sides together, and I'm taking the measurement from the center back of the neckline. So I'll take the measurement down to the hem of the BUBU gown. I'm just taking this note so that I will know how to place my neckline and the slit in front. So now that I know the length, I will use that to cut out the shawl. So first of all, for the neck opening, I will take 14 inches from the center back and down to the hem where I want the slit to be. I want it to be 42 inches. If you want your ties to show, you can go up to 37 inches. So this is the fabric I'm using for the shawl collar. I've gone ahead and ironed it, and I joined it to be long, that it would be enough for the neckline. So what I have here is 3.5 inches on fold. This is going to take care of what we have removed in front of that center front. So I went ahead and ironed it to make a crease. I'm going to get the center of the shawl collar. So just to put down all the measurements that we took from the BUBU gown. So I'm going to first of all get the 14 inches for the neck opening. So 14 inches is here. I'm going to fold this like this, and I'm going to give this place a crease. So you use your iron to make a crease there, so that you know this would help you, to guide you when you're sewing it. So I'll go ahead and make this crease, and I'll continue and get the 42 inches where I'll measure down to the 42 inches that we took earlier, and I'm going to make crease again here. Remember, if you want your slit to be higher, you can make it 37 inches. So I made 42 inches because I don't want my ties to show. And now that I have it like this, remember we already have made a crease for the center. So I'm going to align all these things together, and we're going to sew them. So align it properly, and you start from the 14 inches that we have made. You're going to sew it down from here all the way to the 42 inches that we have made for where the slit will start. So I'll go to my machine now and go and sew that. So when you're sewing it, make sure you're going to backstitch up and down there so that it will not unravel when you're wearing it. Next, this is it after I'm done sewing it. Can you see the shawl neckline is already in place? Can you see the slits? It's long, it's quite long though, but if you want yours, remember how many inches I told you. So I'm going to notch the center back of the shawl collar, and I'm going to use this, align it to the BUBU gown, the neckline of the BUBU gown. From the back, I'll go and align it to it, and I'll sew, join the two necklines together. If you have watched up till this time and you have not given this video a thumbs up, what are you waiting for? Please give this video a thumbs up, or if I have done anything that you don't understand, let me know in the comment section. And if this is your first time coming across my channel, consider subscribing and turn on your notification bell icon. And if you're a beginner, let me know if this was simple. So this is it after I was done joining it. Can you guys see the slit is looking very nice? So I've hemmed this side. I'll go ahead and hem this place also, but I will show you what to do here. So you're going to go ahead and cut off, leaving 1/2 inch sewing allowance. You're going to cut this place off. Remember, we have already hemmed the other side of the BUBU, so you're going to turn this over like this and sew away 1/2 inch. Turn it over again and you're going to sew it. So I will do the practical again. Now I want to use this opportunity to thank all my returning subscribers. Thank you, I appreciate a whole lot. May God bless you guys for always coming back to watch and support. So I'll go ahead and sew this here and then flip it over like that and sew it. So let me do that and show you what I mean. So this is it after sewing it. Can you see? So I'll go ahead and turn it over like this. Make sure I bring out the sharp corners, and I'm going to sew it here and turn it over like that, and you can see how clean this is looking. Yeah, so guys, we have come to the end of today's video. Can you see how this shawl collar BUBU gown is looking? Very clean and very, I love it, simple and nice. Yeah, so guys, we have come to the end of today's video. See you in my next video. Bye.